Okay, you're on stream now.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, the we got too gay, Aron. We went too gay.
As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I'm sorry, Senior Fishbone, but the bridge isn't as furry as potatoes are.
Like, I don't know if it was if it's a indie. I don't know. We're gonna have to troubleshoot that, guys. Sorry about that. We're back though. We're glad that you're hopefully back with us. I think on the.
Well, whenever there's the first indication of problem, I like to blame a global conspiracy.
It's what it is. It's Russian vids. Do you know who Russian vids is?
I'm not sure. No.
Oh man, if you don't know, we have to get you. We have to get you into Russian vids. Okay, so the lines are back open, and I see that people are already starting to call back in now. They were open. Actually, there's one spot open, so we have one spot open if you want to call. Aron, I'm gonna let you pick out of these three since they all called at the same time. One is to say thanks. One is to say why secular humanism leads to veganism, and the other is to talk about outrage culture.
Okay, let's go with veganism first.
Okay, and that's going to be Greg.
Okay. And
Greg.
do we have
Hi
Greg
there.
online?
There we
Hi,
go.
Greg.
Yeah, hi, this is Greg. How you guys doing?
That depends on what you have to say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll keep it pretty simple. I mean, you guys are both humanists, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I would say, like, if you look at the world, there's about 3.1 million children starving to death every year, and that's a pretty big problem for well-being for humans.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at, just basic math, most creatures are pretty bad at getting energy from whatever they eat. It's normally about like 10%. So it takes about 10 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of human. And it takes about 10 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of cow. And it takes about 10 pounds of cow to make 1 pound of human. So it takes 100 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of human through a cow. And when you have like the United States, like 70% of our agriculture is geared towards raising animals. If we stop doing that, we could feed the entire world.
I don't argue with that at all. And I want to up front confess my own hypocrisy.
Same.
That and I know that I'm a hypocrite in this matter.
Same.
If I had to kill the animals myself, I'd be a vegetarian overnight.
Same.
I can't tell you that I love chicken. I love chicken wings. I love roasted chicken. I love especially I like fried chicken. I like lemon pepper chicken. And then nothing ever tasted as good as steak. And if you ever had a steak on my barbecue, you would swear, because I've had many people here at my house who've told me that the steak that come off my barbecue is better than what they get on in a lot of the like Saltgrass Steakhouse or whatever. If nothing ever tasted better.
I would have loved to have had a steak at your place.
No, you would.
Well, thank you. But this is an admission. This is an admission of what a hypocrite I am. Mm-hmm. And I realize that if I could go vegetarian, I would certainly lose a lot of weight really fast, because once nothing tastes good anymore, then it's easy to it's easy to lose weight.
Okay. I'm going to say maybe your steaks are absolutely amazing, and I will give you credit for that. But I hear people argue that vegan food doesn't taste good all the time. And you look at lots of parts of the world where pretty much all the food is vegan. You look at a lot of Buddhist countries and stuff like that, and they make some really damn good food. And
They always look sad,
like,
though.
you know, I've been to a place and had a bad burger before, but that doesn't mean that a place that actually knows how to make burgers is going to make a bad one. You know what I mean? Like, I get that all the time.
I want to say one other thing, that Cosmic Skeptic took an angle that I wasn't expecting, where he just fully confessed right off the bat that nothing ever tasted as good as steak. But is that sufficient? I mean, really, that's a mouthgasm. When I hand you a steak
I miss it.
that's been seasoned on my grill, when you put that in your mouth and you taste it, you're like, oh my God, that's so fucking good. But is that reason enough to justify everything that we're doing? And I freely admit that it's not. So I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can to purchase only cruelty-free meats to begin with. And yes, my wife and I do invest in. My wife and I do invest.
There's no such thing as cruelty-free meat. That's not a thing.
Well, I admit that. I admit that, because anything that has to be killed, obviously isn't cruelty-free. But is it heinous? Is it that their entire lives are spent in a matter of cruelty, or is it that last couple of moments? Yeah. But I'm not making justification for that. I'm not even trying to apologize for that. If all cattle were allowed to wander free in an open pasture and then be coaxed in one by one without having to stand in a line, and that cow will be slaughtered where no other cattle can see it, is that justification for what we're doing? And no, it is not. I have no defense. I don't. So I'm trying to move to when I buy meat, I go for the open pasture cattle rather than the things that are raised in a cage that is only slightly bigger than their own bodies. I've already moved away from pork because I had a pet pig in my house, and it's hard for me to understand how I have a bias. I'm going to admit as well. Not only will I admit my hypocrisy, I'll also admit my bias that I grant more rights on a level of intelligence. And I've had a pig living inside my house that makes it difficult for me to ingest bacon anymore. Because I know where it comes from. I get it.
Yeah, if you interact with pigs, man, they are awesome animals.
Yeah. So all I can do is confess that I'm trying to fix myself. And you'll know when I've done that, when I'm 100 pounds lighter, because nothing tastes good anymore.
Well, let me say this, just for my situation. See, I am damned if I do, damned if I don't, because for me, there will never be a time where I see no meat in my mouth.
Well, I guess it's because you're gay.
Well, no. If it's consensual, man, swallowing's fine, buddy. I don't care what you put in your mouth. That's all good, as long as it's consensual.
Apparently that was meant as a joke. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And you picked right up on it.
No,
I agree with everything that Aron said.
I get that all the time.
Nothing that I can say to add. I fully admit that I'm a hypocrite too. I could never kill an animal. When those Sarah McLachlan commercials come on TV, where it's got the dog shivering out in the cold, I have to dive for the remote to change the channel. I can't even look at those commercials. Anything to do with animal cruelty, that's the one thing that pushes my buttons like anything else. And I am a fully admitted hypocrite in that sense.
Yeah, and I'm not. No, I don't mean to use that as an excuse to continue to be the way that I am. I am trying to fix who I am. I don't know that I'll ever be vegan because butter, honestly, butter makes everything better, including sex.
Oh.
Yes. And
there's a theme going tonight.
I will say, I've been having some absolutely wonderful vegan cultured butter that is just as good in all those same ways.
When you say having vegan cultured butter in the context that I just said,
Yeah. You see Aron plowing Paula Dean.
that's giving me a visual. That's giving me a visual I didn't really want.
Only thing that comes to mind. Okay. Well, all right, Greg. Thank you for the call and for pointing out how.
What I want to say, and if I can throw in
Sure.
an addendum on that.
Yeah.
We've now reached a level of technology where we can create artificial butter that is not margarine. That we can now create. If anybody saw The Matrix, I'm sure everybody missed that movie that came out in about Y2K, where they had this horrible porridge of goop that they had to eat, this unicellular organism that they had to eat. But we're not so limited. We can actually make fake meat, and we can chemically enhance that to have all the nutrients, all of the different types of flavors that we want. We can have it marinated if we want. We can grow it that way. And we don't have to make it completely out of stem cell meat, which is, there's a type of Franken meat that is actually lab grown meat. We don't have to do it that way. We now have things like the Impossible Burger, where it's possible to create a hamburger that isn't made out of meat, but is made directly out of vegetables, but tastes like meat and has the same texture as meat and has any number of nutrients that we want to include. We can grow meatloaf. We can grow any kind of food that we want. We have the technology now that we can do that we never had before. And I wish that we would explore that. I am kind of myself horrified when I buy a steak, because I know I see a steak that it's 2 inches thick and it, even uncooked, it's making my mouth salivate already. I am embarrassed that I'm in that position. I want to make that better. I want everybody to make that better. And I'm working myself through this, and I'm not going to make any judgments about anybody else when I can't fix myself, or when I haven't yet succeeded in fixing myself.
I don't know, fake meat hypocrite. I don't know when I get to that point. It's just so. Will it really? Would it taste like real meat? That's the thing. Knowing that it's fake.
There are. You can get an Impossible Burger that really does taste like real meat. There's a couple of different options. They can now grow laboratory meat that is actual meat, that is genetically designed to be just a slab of muscle tissue that can be enhanced to have whatever flavorings and seasonings and so forth that you want. But they can also do that out of vegetables directly that also has the same flavor. I've had the Impossible Burger. Go and try the Impossible Burger. Look up, I think it's Burger King that offers the Impossible Burger, but it's a hamburger that is made entirely out of vegetables. So it's not made out of meat product. It's not made out of it's not a meat byproduct. It's the
vegetable
efficiency that our caller was mentioning about how many pounds of vegetation it takes to make a cow, and then you have to translate 1/10 of that to make a human. When we can make the cow meat out of vegetation, we can literally produce our own food now. We have the capacity, the technology to do that. And if we did do that, the environment would suffer a huge advantage from this, because we don't actually have to have all of these cows. We don't have to deforest all these grazing pastures for flatulent cows, right? Shut up.
I agree with that. I looked at this call screen just now, and I just saw one word. I didn't even read what the rest of it was, because this one word, it caught my eye, and I'm hoping that it might be the word, but we'll find out. Nephilim.
We're not free of Nephilim, are we?
Is this
No,
Nephilim
this is not
free?
Nephilim free.
Oh, okay. I just saw the word Nephilim. Okay, so you're asking a question about the Nephilim. Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey guys,
Man,
Kyle, you
I'm
are
in there.
fabulous,
Thank you,
and
man.
Aron, you are ferociously intellectual, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Okay, when talking to someone like Kunthoven, and he talks about a kind brings forth after their kind, I'd like somebody to ask him: are we the Nephilim kind or the human kind, according to Genesis 6? Because we've brought forth from the Nephilim, I guess, that came down from heaven, and we brought forth. So there are two different beings bringing in a hybrid. So what kind is what there?
It does seem a bit like when you're reading Genesis, it does seem a little bit like you're watching early episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, where they're intermixing Romulans and Klingons and Vulcans, right? Doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
It's all true though. It's all true.
Yeah,
I'm a little more Star Wars.
As am I. As am I. The problem that I have with people that have the biblical perspective is that they usually have a very dichotomous perspective where it's all one way or another way, and they're not able to see nuance. They're not able to explore hypothetical enhancements either way. They don't want to either understand either the way things really are or even understand how to test for that. They just literally just want to make up whatever they want to believe. I suggested once upon a time on Usenet that let's imagine we have a hypothetical type of technology that is able to detect God particles, that is able to detect that is able to determine who God actually is, regardless what we want to believe that God is. And I was saying this as an atheist. Let's say we have a type of technology that can detect God and can also detect what exactly God is. And believers objected to that wholeheartedly because everybody wanted God to be whatever they personally want to believe God is.
Like Channing Tatum.
So it really is a magic imaginary personal friend.
Now this. Whoa! Something happened there. Robert.
Yes.
I think for whatever reason we
Yes,
lost
hello?
our last. Yeah, hold on one second. We lost our last caller. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that, but I just noticed that a new name popped up. You want to talk about Catholic miracles?
Yeah, specifically the miracle of Lanciano.
Oh. Is this Catholic traditionalist?
Yes.
Aron, all you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Somebody else was bringing something up to me.
Catholic traditionalist, explain to Aron the miracle that you think proves God.
Yeah, it's called the miracle of Lanciano.
Go on.
Which is?
Yeah, well, about 1,000 years ago, there was a priest that essentially became an atheist, or he doubted the existence of God. And as you know, in Catholicism, they consecrate the bread, and it supposedly changes into the actual body, soul, and divinity of God, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Well, since he doubted that this was actually taking place because he didn't believe in God anymore, when he went ahead and consecrated the bread, it actually turned into living flesh, and the Catholic Church has had that Eucharist. That's what we call it for 1,000 years now.
You're saying
and
that
scientists
somebody
recently analyzed it.
Hold on, I want to just clarify. You're saying that someone in history was holding bread in their hand and it turned into meat.
Living flesh. And scientists just recently analyzed that
Living flesh.
Eucharist. And they found
So somebody would hold on, just
and they
make
found
sure I
that
understand. somebody is holding bread in their hand and it turned into living meat.
Do you want me to explain, or I mean, you keep interrupting me. Do you want me to explain or not?
Saying? Is that what you're saying?
Clarifying. He wants to make sure he understands your point, but he's not interrupting. He's wanting to make sure that he understands what you're saying. Because you just kind of sped through that. He's asking, did bread turn into like a hunk of meat was alive?
Okay. In the Catholic Mass, every single Catholic Mass, it is the teaching of the Catholic Church that during the consecration, when the priest holds up the bread, the host, it turns into the actual body, blood, soul, and divinity of God, who is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I'll explain again. This particular priest 1,000 years ago did not believe that. He was very skeptical. He was beginning to doubt the existence of God. So God did a miracle for this priest whose name is Lanciano, and the bread that we believe turns into the actual body of Christ actually in his hands turned into the flesh of Christ and had blood and living flesh. And scientists just recently analyzed that Eucharist. That's what we call it, the Eucharist. And they found that it is actual living human tissue. And the blood is actually alive. It's fresh, living blood. Scientists don't understand how this is possible because it's impossible for something like this to exist in reality.
Well, I'm eating.
So scientists recently confirmed that these Eucharists became living meat, harvested yet still living. We'll ignore that point for a moment. So scientists confirmed that these Eucharists became living meat.
Not these Eucharists. I didn't say these Eucharists. It is a Eucharist.
Scientists confirmed that bread at any point, in any place, ever turned into meat.
Now I'm explaining it to you. I don't know why you're not able to follow it. I'm not speaking Chinese.
It's not that I'm not able to follow it. I'm asking you, is that what you are saying?
That is not what I'm saying. I keep repeating what I'm saying.
What is it that you are saying?
Getting it.
Because maybe you're not saying the thing that you mean. Because I heard what you said, and what you said was stupid, didn't make any sense. So please try to say something that makes sense and that we can verify. What is it you are saying?
Okay, let me go slower for you. Let me go slower for you.
Yes, please, go slower, because I'm also stupid that I need you to verify. So please, help me understand.
It's not going to end well for you.
Are you saying that scientists recently confirmed that a Eucharist became living meat?
That is not what I said. Would you like me to explain once again what I said and repeat what I just said?
What is it you said?
Okay, there weren't any scientists back then 1,000 years ago. Okay, so there wasn't any scientists that witnessed the event occur, the miracle occur.
Right.
Scientists just a few years ago, about a decade ago, analyzed that particular Eucharist that the Catholic Church has held,
So the Eucharist is a piece of cracker,
for over 1,000 years now.
So the Eucharist is a piece of cracker, right? The Eucharist is a piece of cracker.
Was that it's
right?
And what the scientists found was that it's actual living tissue outside of a human body, which is impossible. It is impossible.
So what you're saying is that what I just said you were saying. Hello. So what you are now saying is that what I just said a moment ago that you were saying is exactly fucking correct without any corrections necessary. You are saying that scientists recently confirmed that the cracker, the Eucharist, actually became meat. Yes? Because that's the sentences.
Not what I said. And I don't know why you're not able
please
to grasp
repeat
it. I
the
mean,
sentences you
a
just
simple,
said
you know,
again,
garbage,
because
truck
you
worker could
did
grasp what I'm
just
saying, but
say
you can't seem to
exactly
grasp what I'm
that.
saying.
So
we started off so
fix
good too.
your fucking English to say it properly this time. What is it we are trying to confirm here? Tell me exactly what we're going to look at. You said scientists within the last 10 years had confirmed that a Eucharist, which is a cracker, was actually the flesh of Jesus, which means that scientists within the last 10 years confirmed that the Eucharist, the cracker, became
I didn't say any of what you're
meat.
saying. I didn't say any of what you're saying. You're just making
You just
stuff
said
up. I
all
didn't
of
say
that
anything
shit,
of what you're
and this
saying.
is a recorded call. But please recite the same bullshit again so that we know exactly what lie you're trying to pass here.
Okay, scientists about a decade ago.
About a decade ago. Can we
tissue,
give it a year?
which we call the Eucharist.
Okay, so
And
scientists
they found
confirmed
that it is
that the
actual-
cracker.
Look, do you want it? Do you want me to explain to you or not?
Yes, I
I'm
am. We're
trying to
going step
explain
by
to you.
step
Do you
here.
want to hear it or
Because
not?
you're confirming what I said all along. So you're saying within a decade, within the last 10 years, scientists, unnamed scientists, we're going to get to the peer-reviewed study about this momentarily.
No, they're
but
named.
you're saying
They're
that
named.
scientists
Anybody
confirmed
can look up
that
the
a
miracle of
cracker.
Lanciano and the scientists
You're
are there by
telling me,
name.
hello.
The
Shut
scientists
the
are
fuck
named.
up, dude.
Okay,
I'm
listen,
the one on the show. You're the one
Listen.
calling in with the bullshit. So you're telling me that scientists, unnamed anonymous scientists, confirmed, and we'll be able to show the peer-reviewed study, confirmed that a cracker called a Eucharist became meat, right?
Let me interject, Aron. I think what I hear is that he doesn't want. It may be that he objects to the word meat. I think if you
Hold on a second.
take that sentence and said flesh, it might be okay.
I'm not ruining dinner. I can't just be quiet. I'm on a podcast.
Aron, I think it may be the word usage of the word meat. I think if you said flesh, we could get past this sticking point.
Is there a difference between flesh and meat? Okay, when I say the word
Realistically,
flesh,
no.
obviously I mean meat. And when he
Realistically,
says flesh, when he says living flesh, we all understand that he's obviously not talking about living flesh. He's talking about butchered fucking meat.
Listen, I've been
Right?
I've been,
So
I've been down
he's
this path
using the
before.
wrong words.
I've been down this path before. I know where it ends. I'm just trying to find middle ground. I'm with
Josh,
you. Though.
you sound like you are you the script writer who wrote The Matrix?
Listen, as creative as I am, I couldn't make this shit up. A cracker that turned into meat? No, that's original. Anyway, go ahead. So
Okay.
if we said flesh, would that be
Yeah.
okay? Okay, cool.
Well, why don't you just be quiet and listen to I'll explain the miracle of Lanciano for you, and I'll explain why the scientists themselves said that in science they cannot explain this miracle because it defies the laws of science, the laws of reality
Absolutely,
in the
yes.
natural realm.
Yes.
Because
Hold me
it's
over.
actual living flesh outside of the body, which is impossible. It's an
Right,
show me.
impossibility. Scientists
We agree.
cannot
Great.
explain this.
Bring it.
We agreed. Okay, go ahead.
What scientists?
Did you hear what I
Yes.
just
Yeah,
said?
I did.
You look up
I
the
heard all of the
miracle
empty
Lanciano, it gives the
bullshit
list of
assertions
names
that
of the
you just made.
scientists.
Yes, I did. So
If you look
name
up-
the
If you look up
scientists.
the miracle, if you look up
You
the
not know the
miracle of Lanciano, it actually gives the names of the
The
scientists
miracle
that
of
actually did
Lanciano.
the analysis.
If I
of
look up
the flesh.
hold on a second.
and they
Hold on.
determined
If I look, wait. If
Shut
I
up.
look up the miracle of Lanciano, will that identify the scientist? Will that show me the peer-reviewed study?
I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so basically
why
what
don't
this
you
says,
guys just look up the miracle of Lanciano?
we are.
And I
Can you
would
help me
urge your
spell
audience as well. Look up the miracle
Lanciano
of
so that I
Lanciano.
can look
Atheists
up
are unable
the miracle of Lanciano that never had any peer-reviewed study so that I can understand the bullshit lie that you're trying to tell me right now? How do you spell Lanciano?
It's I've got him on mute right now. It's Lanciano.
L-A-N?
And we'll get back to you. Yeah, Lanciano.
See?
And we'll get back to you in just a second.
A-N-O.
Traditional
Okay.
Catholic.
And so what's the title of the peer-reviewed study that was on this, where scientists confirmed this? Because scientists cannot have confirmed this if there's not a peer-reviewed study connected to it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me get him back on here. Okay, ramble on.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know this or not, but just recently, John Stossel. Are you familiar with John Stossel?
Stop.
No.
I'm putting you on mute again. Aron asked you for the peer-reviewed paper. He's not interested in the side stuff. He wants to know the peer-reviewed paper that definitively proves that this turned into flesh. Now, I'm going to unmute you. Can you provide that? Yes or no?
Well, if you go ahead and you look at John Stossel's interview with someone that actually has
if you go ahead, does that mean yes, you can provide the peer-reviewed study, or no, you're just making an empty assertion?
Do you want my answer or not?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the answer should be yes, I can provide the peer-reviewed study, and here it is. Or no, I'm just making up a bunch of bullshit, and this is why I can't come up with my own fucking excuse. Which is it? Give me the name of the study that verifies what you're saying, or come up with some bullshit excuse about why you can't come up with the shit you just pulled out of your ass. What is it?
Okay, well, apparently I'm not going to be able to respond because you guys will not allow me to respond. So
because
I would urge
you
your audience
will
to
not
look up the miracle of Lanciano.
Study where scientists confirm this.
The miracle of Lanciano. You have a great day. Bye-bye.
If scientists had confirmed this, there would be a peer-reviewed study you would be able to point to. If scientists had confirmed any fucking thing, any fucking where, there would always have to be a peer-reviewed study that you could point to. And if you can't, it's because you have your head up your ass.
Yeah, typical theist answer is when they're asked a direct question, they will do everything that they can to avoid answering that directly. He was willing to go in every direction to avoid saying yes or no. And if you, I believe there was this wise man that once said, if you can't show it, then you don't know it. And
no, that wasn't a wise man. That was some long-haired metalhead guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I got him and somebody else confused. My bad.
Okay,
but yeah.
Kyle, I wish that I could stay, but unfortunately I'm being drawn away.
No, it's time anyway. So Aron, thank you, sir. This was a blast. And safe travels to the UK.
It's always a pleasure, sir. I'm always happy to be on your show. Thank you very much.
Sure. Y'all have a safe trip.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for a great night. I'm gonna read these super chats real quick, and then we will close it out. Let me close out the call screen real quick first. Dave, you can.
That last call was quite painful.
He's always painful when he calls.
It was very painful though.
It's just stupid. Like you are asked a question. Number one, you believe in a story about some bread that turned into flesh, and what would that mean anyway? Let's say that it were true. What does that prove? Like, of all the things that God could do to prove himself, he could appear, he could write messages in the sky, he could send a fruit basket to somebody, but he sends a hunk of bread that turns into some rotten meat that they can't, confirm for 1,000 years. The fuck out of here. Let me pull these super chats up real quick. And
about as meaningful as the Shroud of Turin. Yes, it's just as bad.
Okay, Epic Christ. All right. Okay, let me get to there. Okay. Larry Walter Jr. says, PayPal payment away, non-sec, show or bust, always a safe bet with Kyle's hair leading the way. I happen to agree there. Thank you for that. And Red Eric says, my project about Jehovah's Witness emotional blackmail and such channel name, Witness the Truth, one word. Keep tearing down the watchtower, one brick at a time. That's awesome. Mick, what's your opinion on ACA and rationality rules? We covered that. If you weren't around for that, you can double back. It's on the other video since it's going to be split into two, but we covered that. Basically, in a nutshell, we are fans of both, stand by both. We are not going to denounce rationality rules because he admitted that he was wrong in some things, and he's going to make a follow-up video. So we're going to reserve any sort of further comment on it until that other video drops, and that the ACA could have handled it better. So there are issues on both sides, but the overall the takeaway here is that the body of work that both sides have done overall well eclipses this only word that's coming to mind right now is kerfuffle because of traditional Catholic. But this issue now, their bodies of work way surpass this, and to disagree doesn't mean to divide. I keep hammering that home. Just because you may disagree with each other does not mean that this is an issue that you have to be on one side or the other, because that's completely false. That can be further from the truth. You do not have to choose a side here. That's just absolute bullshit. So I'm not going to. Sunrise bedtime. Take a shot with us, me in particular. I wish I could, but if I do that, one will lead to another, and then by the time I know it, I will wind up naked on my neighbor's porch swing. That's happened. Piazza says, if Aron's role is a preacher, will he be method acting it? Absolutely. Piazza, I think Kyle would be awesome as a lead character of a superhero movie. Captain No America, America's Ours. Well, it's about that wrench is looking awful heavy on you, Piazza. We might have to just take that off your hands for a little bit, so you can go gnome and rest. Christopher B. Aron, Amazon link to that awesome beer mug. Princess April Van Ryan, Aron, please do the Hovind impression. Danny Flo, Aron's 8 videos about Noah's Ark turned me atheist. That's cool. Cameron Jones, bisexual, homo romantic is a label some use. I call myself Kyle. I don't try to put a label on it. I'm gay in the sense that I, want a relationship with men, but other than that, I'm just me. I don't adhere to a label strongly. Some people do, and I understand that. It's just never been my thing. I'm just me, and if there's a word for it, great. If not, that's cool too. Tipsy Jack says, what exactly did Rationality Rule say that was a mistake? Please excuse me for asking, but I'm still learning. That's okay. There were some discrepancies in the studies that instead of me trying to sum up everything, I think you can look to Essence of Thoughts video where he talks about the science and the studies of the transgender athletes and the cis athletes, and sort of the effects that the hormones have. Some of that was one part of the issue, and so instead of me, because I'm sure that there are people who have issues with if you sum them all up, every single part of the video. So it's hard to sort of hone in on what his main issues were, because I don't know, and I'm not going to speak for them. I can just point out things that I've sort of
well, I've watched
that stick out to me, and
yeah.
I don't want to speak for Steve, so we'll have to wait till that video sort of drops. Yes, Dave.
And I was going to say, I've watched the original video. I watched it, and it's to say it's transphobic, it could be mistaken, but I would not go so far as to call it transphobic. And there are plenty of people. It's rooted in research he did at the time. It might have been incomplete, but it was the facts as he knew them at the time. So
look, people make mistakes. I think you want somebody, and you should respect somebody that is able to see those mistakes and wants to actively make right on them. That's the takeaway here. If he were to make this video and things pointed out and people, he just come out and say, you know what, this is how I feel, take it or leave it. That would be one thing. That'd be a completely different issue. But here you have somebody that, looking at the body of their work, is I call him an ally. I've met the man in person. I've had conversations with him. I've seen his videos. He is a supporter of LGBTQ rights. He is a champion of those rights. I consider him an ally, and I will not hold him or crucify him for a video where he made mistakes, which we all do, when he's willing to fix those, and he's willing to learn from it, and he's willing to grow and embrace those changes. That is something that you do not want. That is a person that you do not want to ostracize, because they're willing to admit their fault and learn from it. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, for a group of people to be calling for him to be ostracized and people to speak against him. And when his history has proven him to be an ally, they're just a group of people who have a bloodlust to make somebody a villain. And that's their thing. That's what they do. That's what they get off on. They have to have somebody to be a bully. And what they don't realize is two things happen when that's the case. They become the bullies that they seek to fight up against, that noble cause they have. They become those bullies. And two, it erodes the effectiveness of those words. We have words like homophobe, transphobe, racist for a reason. Those words are sharp. They stick, and they are a very, very, very specific description of somebody's character. And like earlier in the stream before, when you saw that all of these names like Vice Rhino, Mr. Atheist, genetically modified skeptic, Telltale Atheist, Shannon Q, they're transphobic. They do more harm. They did more harm in doing that than Rationality Rules did in that video, because it erodes that effectiveness of that word. And for whatever reason, it's okay when they do it. It's completely fine. It's not an issue. They're fighting the just cause, and they're just blind. It's blind rage. I don't understand it, and I'm not going to fall into their tricks or their riot for riot for outrage. I'm going to see his video when it comes out. I have a feeling that he is going to have a video that corrects those issues. And then most people who have their hearts in the right place and a vision and have the right intentions are going to move past it. And then there's going to be those who don't. And you'll be able to see and judge for yourself which side of that aisle you want to be on.
Yeah.
So, AC Castillo, no message, but thank you for the super chat. Janice Hall, thanks for the chat. That was our pleasure. Nagato True Pain says, I love this show, and Aron Ra, we love you too. Sunrise Bedtime, we love you, Dave. We are entertained. The Sandring person, I got disconnected. Hi, Kyle and Aron. Hi, Sandring. Always good to talk to you. The Amazing Zed. This cookie cracker story is better than Who's on First. No, I disagree.
Well, what got me was like Aron was literally saying back to him what he just said, and he said he didn't say it.
It was the meat and flesh words. He didn't want to call it.
He didn't want to call it flesh.
Yeah. Unapologetically atheist. I've called 19 times. You almost said my name. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like it, with the tech issues and all that tonight, it was just crazy. Hopefully next time you get through, we'll call a little earlier and make sure that you get in on the line. Let me refresh this and make sure that I haven't missed anybody.
I think that's it.
Okay, so tomorrow we will have Lucian Greaves from the Satanic Temple. A lot of people have been waiting for that. Thursday, Q&K with Shannon and Kyle. Well, I'm not going to say that. Friday will be a moon landing debate between a very detailed moon hoaxer or truther and Team Skeptic. So that will be Friday night. And then, of course, on Saturday, Saturday we will be having a private Patreon hangout. Now that I'm back from those conferences and stuff, we're going to resume those. So that will be Saturday at 4. There's actually going to be a really cool thing we're going to do where we're going to together set a week of non-sex shows. So if you are a member, if you're on our Patreon, make sure that you schedule yourself to come there. We're all going to get together and set an entire week. It's going to be Patreon week next week here on Non-Sequitur. So there's a lot of cool things that you guys are going to get to do before, after, during the shows. And we're going to be talking about that on Saturday. I believe that will do it for us. Thanks for being patient through the tech issues. And as always, I don't know why I said "and as always." I think it's because I watched Lewis Rossman video before we came on, and he always says "and as always." I hope you learned something.
Yeah, he does. I like Lewis.
I'm going to change that. I'm going to alter that just a little bit. And as always, I hope you come back.